Is Mike Trout a GOAT? After all, he's played 14 seasons and he's won 3 MVPs. He's also hit 378 home runs and he only needs 122 more to reach 500. So what's the problem? Of course Mike Trout's a GOAT. Or is he? I did a deep dive this week on Mike Trout's stats, and you won't believe what I found.
Sports show every Friday, hot take, where's the market, behind the scenes from the car shows to the streets. There's only one show, there's only one show I wanna watch. EDI Sports Show every Friday.
Welcome back to EDI Sports Show. I'll be your host, Doc Schwartz, and every Friday I post an episode of this show, EDI Sports Show. There are 4 segments if you're new to the channel. First, there's the hot take, then where's the market, behind the scenes, and finally we end with your viewer comments. And I love the good, the bad, and the ugly comments. If you have an opinion or a question, please put it in the comments below, and I might pick it out to comment on it at the very end. This week, we're talking Mike Trout. Is he a GOAT or not? And what you're not going to believe is what I found when I started to look at his stats and his MVP seasons. You're not going to believe this. So here's a quick preview of all the screens that I'm going to show you, and then let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at Mike Trout's stats. So here we go. This is his career stats. He's got 14 seasons. And he has 1,648 hits, 378 home runs. As I've said before, he needs 122 to get to 500. That's not a lot. He can actually do that if he can not get injured again. Batting average is .299, and he has 954 RBIs. But what does that mean for his Hall of Fame numbers? Because right now, Mike Trout is not playing. Now, he probably will come back in maybe August, maybe end of July, but definitely not before the All-Star break. So here's a comparison between him and Don Mattingly, who is not in the Hall of Fame. And I think after you look at these stats, you'll see why Don Mattingly really should not be in the Hall of Fame, even though, again, during his time, his 14 seasons, he was one of the best players in baseball. So right now, they both have the same number of seasons. And as you can see, Don Mattingly has 2,153 hits, and Mike Trout does not have 2,000 hits in 14 seasons. Mike Trout does have 378 home runs. Yeah, Don Mattingly only had 222. But look at the batting average. Look at the RBIs. Mike Trout versus Fred McGriff, who just made it to the Hall of Fame. And McGriff played 19 seasons. So if Trout played 19 seasons, he probably would have about the same number of homers. So Trout would probably have 490 homers. But he doesn't have 2,000 hits. Like, folks, his numbers are not that good. Here's Mickey Mantle, who is a real GOAT. And Mickey Mantle had 18 seasons, and look at Mickey's numbers. I mean, they trash Trout. Like, it's crazy. Now, Mantle won 3 MVPs, so I want to be clear on that. He won 3 MVPs. Trout won 3 MVPs. So let's look at all 4 of them. Okay, so we got Trout, Mattingly, McGriff, Mantle, and I highlighted in yellow the player that had the most of this group. So it's not that they led the league, it's just the most of this group. For hits, McGriff has the most amount of hits of this group, 2490. Mantle has the most amount of homers. Mattingly has the best batting average. And McGriff has also the most amount of RBIs. So when you start to look at this list, you go, oh, so this is why McGriff made the Hall of Fame, because he has more hits than Mantle, and he has more RBIs than Mantle. He only missed 500 homers by 7, and he had a .284 batting average. McGriff's a Hall of Famer. Mattingly's not, and Trout is definitely not. I mean, he doesn't even have 2,000 hits. His batting average is lower than 300, and he has less than 1,000 RBIs. You gotta be kidding me. Like, this is not a Hall of Famer, folks. Now, here's Trout's 3 MVP seasons. So let's take a look at them. So first you have in 2014, he hit 36 homers, he had a 287 batting average, and led the league in RBIs with 111. He also had 16 stolen bases. Now I'm going to make a point about stolen bases because stolen bases kind of like left the baseball league. But here you go. You got 2016. He hit 29 homers, 315 batting average, 100 RBIs, 30 stolen bases. Looks pretty good. You're like, whoa, okay, that's an MVP season. And then in 2019, wow, 45 homers, 291 batting average, 104 RBIs. But here's what I want to say. He only led the league in RBIs in 2014. He didn't lead the league in any of these stats in 2016 and 2019. That means someone had more homers than him. So here's Mantle's 3 MVP seasons, just so we're clear. So in 56, Mantle won the Triple Crown. He led the league in homers, led the league in batting average, and led the league in RBIs. If you don't win the MVP, you don't know who you're voting for. So after he did that, in 57, he won the MVP again because his batting average went up. So he batted 353 in 56, and then he batted 365 in 57. And that didn't even lead the league, which is quite shocking. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So 365 didn't lead the league, but he had 34 homers, 365, and 94 RBIs. I mean, that's a Hall of Fame year. And then he won it again in 62. Again, he didn't lead the league in homers, didn't lead the league in batting average, and obviously didn't lead the league in RBIs. So Mike Trout won the MVP and he didn't lead the league. Okay, so here's the comparison, just so you see the numbers. So Mike Trout's never hit 50, first of all. Never hit 50 homers. His best season was 45 in 2019, okay? So he won the MVP that league. But Mike Trout's batting average, 315 was the best batting average. That's not Mantle's MVP seasons. His worst season, he batted 321. Who should have won the MVP in 2014? Because now I want to show you how the stats, like we seem to have been like seduced by Mike Trout. I don't know why, and I get it. He's a great player, but I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Who should have won the MVP in 2014? I mean, you could make a great argument for Jose Abreu. He was better than Mike Trout in 2014. Mike Trout had 173 hits. Jose Abreu had 176 hits. Mike Trout had 36 homers. Well, so did Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu's batting average was 317. His RBIs was 107. Mike Trout led the league with 111. But you have two guys up here, Nelson Cruz and Jose Abreu, who both had over 100 RBIs. They were right behind him, and they had better stats. 40 homers to 36. 271 batting average to 287. I mean, okay, that's fine. So if you really want to look at the best player of that year, it was Jose Altuve, who had 225 hits. He led the league. He led the league in batting with 341 with a 341 batting average. And he led the league in stolen bases with 56. I don't know about you, but Jose Altuve looks like a better player to me than Mike Trout. Now, who should have won it in 2016? Okay, well, let's take a look. You got Mookie Betts, and you got Jose Altuve again. And Nelson Cruz with 43 homers. So, I mean, folks, like I understand that Mike Trout won the MVP. You can't take it away from him, but he's not the best player in baseball. He's not the best player in baseball. Mookie Betts he had 214 hits. Jose Altuve led the league with 216 hits. Jose Altuve led the league with a 338 batting average. He also put in 34 homers and 94. This is a Mickey Mantle year. This is a Mickey Mantle year. I'm sorry. 216, 34, 338, and 94 is a Mickey Mantle year. This is not a Mickey Mantle year. This is actually quite embarrassing for baseball. Who should have won it in 2019? Okay. I mean, you have a really good case for Alex Bregman and Nelson Cruz. They both hit 40 homers. And these guys had more hits, 164 hits to 137. The batting average was 296. The RBIs were more. And the OPS, because that was the only thing that Mike Trout led the league in was OPS. Well, these guys' OPS is over 1. So I mean, either Nelson Cruz or Alex Bregman should have been the MVP in 2019. Let's get to the seduction of WAR. And if you don't know what WAR means, it's wins above replacement. And Mike Trout's WAR is 86.3. This is where this stat kind of goes off the rails, because if Mike Trout's wins above replacement is 86.3, let's take a look at the Angels. First of all, let's take a look at the number of games that Mike Trout has played in his career. All right, so we're going to start with he played 40 games in 2011. That was his rookie year. He then played 139, 157, 157, 159, 159, 114, 140. And you can see as we keep going, he doesn't play 86 games. 134, 53, 36, 119, and 82. All right, so if you have a 86.3 wins above replacement, should your team win 86 games for the year then? You should, but let's take a look at the Angels' record. So in 2011, the Angels won 86 games. And then in 2012, they won 89. Okay, so his 86.3, if they don't have him, they don't win games. Okay, that's good. But in 2013, they won 78 games. So where's the 86 come in? The Angels' best season was in 2014, which is the year that he won the MVP. So I get it. Okay, so they had 98 wins. He wins the MVP. That's wonderful. But where's the rest of this MVP seasons? They won 85 games in 2015, 74 in 2016, 80 and 80 in 17 and 18. I mean, they're not winning 86 games. The Angels are horrible with Mike Trout. And then you add in Shohei Ohtani, and they can't win baseball games. So WAR is a completely made-up stat. It's an analytic that was made up by sports agents in order to, I guess, fool the people that run these teams into paying for players that don't matter. Mike Trout's stats are horrible compared to what he gets paid to do. Shohei Ohtani probably is a better player than Mike Trout, and the Angels probably made the worst mistake of their organizational history by not keeping Ohtani and not trading Mike Trout. They should have traded Trout, and they should have signed Ohtani. I don't know what they're doing, honestly. So, I mean, this is where we're at, folks. Is Mike Trout a GOAT or not? And honestly, I think after we looked at all the stats, I think it's pretty clear that Mike Trout has to do a lot to make him into a Hall of Famer and also to be considered one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Like, he doesn't have the stats. He might have the cultural relevance, which we're going to get to where's the market, what his cards are worth compared to these other two Hall of Famers. Well, one's a Hall of Famer. Don Mattingly's not a Hall of Famer. And for everybody that keeps trying to say, well, Don Mattingly should be in the Hall of Fame, I think you can see right now that Don Mattingly does not have any of the numbers that justify him to be in the Hall of Fame. He just doesn't have them. I mean, it's unfortunate. Donnie Baseball was a great player, and he was unbelievable when he played, but I think we got to look at the Hall of Fame should be the best players in the history of the game. And if the Hall of Fame keeps watering down like who should go in, obviously Fred McGriff deserves to be there compared to the players that are already there. Like, he's got numbers that are comparable to Mickey Mantle. So to me, I'm saying he's probably a really good Hall of Famer. But Mike Trout doesn't have those numbers. Mike Trout doesn't have 2,000 hits. He doesn't have 500 homers. He doesn't have 1,000 RBIs. Yeah, he's got 3 MVPs, but I think you could see, I think he won those MVPs because of politics and not because of his play on the field. He's not that good. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. And he has a lot of fan support, which is why he probably gets the paycheck that he gets, because he sells jerseys and he keeps people in the ballpark. But he's not that good. he's okay. He's good. He's not that good. And I think that's what we need to know. Anyway, so that's my hot take. Let's get to the next segment. Now it's time for Where's the Market? Here's a little preview of a chart that we're going to go over. And in this week's Where's the Market, I'm actually going to go over 3 cards that I want to highlight. And we're going to first look at the Sportscard Pro values. So we're going to look at those. Then we're going to look at the eBay listings as to what they were sold for. And then I'm going to give you what I think that they're worth. Now, the first card is going to be the 2011 Mike Trout Update Rookie. The second one's going to be the 84 Topps Don Mattingly Rookie card. The last one's going to be the 87 Topps Update Fred McGriff Rookie. So let's first look at the Sportscard Pro values. And so here's what Sportscard Pro says that the Mike Trout 2011 rookie card is worth. So ungraded, they say it's about $375, and PSA 10 is $1,000. Okay, that's great. Now let's look at Don Mattingly. For them, they say that the ungraded is about $10 and the PSA 10 is just under $1,000. And then lastly, for the Fred McGriff, they say that the ungraded is about $2 and the PSA 10 is just over $60. Now, let's look at eBay listings. So here's the first one. So this card just sold for Mike Trout 2011 at about $1,000, exactly what Sportscard Pro says. The Mattingly, now I wanted to do this one because we're going to get into behind the scenes and I'm going to show you these cards. So when we get to behind the scenes, I'm going to show you this. So anyway, this is the Nestle's version of Topps. So this one is, if you want to call it a short print, it's a short print. Still, I have no idea what that means. But this is an SGC 10. So this one went for about $800. The PSA 10 for Don Mattingly recently sold for $1,000. And then this is exactly the most recent listing for the Fred McGriff 1987 Topps Update, and again, just over $60. Here's the chart, and I want you to see this. Here is the PSA 10. So the first column is, the green is the PSA 10. The yellow is ungraded. So you have Trout, Mattingly, and McGriff in order. So you see Trout and Mattingly, the PSA 10 is worth $1,000. And then the ungraded, so Trout's ungraded is still worth $375, whereas Mattingly's is at $12 basically. I mean, it's selling for around $12, and the McGriff is selling for around $3. Let's get to what I think these cards are actually worth. Now, given the fact that Don Mattingly's PSA 10 is selling for $1,000 30 years later, I'm going to say that I would say that the Trout rookie is probably worth $1,000. I think if you pay more than that, you're probably overpaying. But for ungraded, I think that you're overpaying for the Mike Trout 2011 update card, just given the fact that Don Mattingly, who's not in the Hall of Fame, his ungraded card is going for between $10 to $15. So if you're spending more than $100 on an ungraded 2011 Mike Trout rookie, you have wasted your money. This is the way it goes. And Fred McGriff, who's in the Hall of Fame, these two other guys are not in the Hall of Fame, and his ungraded 1987 Topps Update is going for, again, between $1 to $3. Ungraded, I'm sorry, but Mike Trout's ungraded card should not be going for $300, $200, $100. I mean, honestly, I would say that if you're paying more than $50 for that card, you've just thrown money away. That's just my opinion, and I'm using that based on the 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey card, which goes between $50 to $70 ungraded. So I think that's a healthy market for ungraded for these types of players. Mike Trout has a huge following. So is he as popular as Ken Griffey Jr.? No, nowhere close. But he has a huge following. So Given the fact that he has a huge following, I honestly think that his ungraded cards will eventually come down to between 50 and 70 bucks. That's what they should be, ungraded. The graded market is a whole different story. Again, I think at around $1,000 is probably the top end. So if you're paying more than $1,000, you're paying too much. But $1,000 is pretty much what it's worth. That's my take on where's the market this week. Now let's go behind the scenes. I thought it would be fun in this week's behind the scenes to actually show you the cards of the players we just talked about. So I've got Don Mattingly and Fred McGriff. I do not have a Mike Trout rookie card. I've never been a huge Mike Trout fan, and I'm not going to pay $300 for an ungraded Mike Trout rookie because I'm not crazy. So all of you out there, you're overpaying, but here we go. Let's start with 1984 Don Mattingly Topps rookie card. All right, and this was back in the day. If you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, I mean, this was the most iconic rookie card of that era. Until you got to 89 when you got the Ken Griffey. This was the most popular card before the Ken Griffey rookie card. This one, that's it. Everyone wanted this card. Now, I also have the Nestle version, and I figured I would hold on to that. And I also have a promo, a black and white Nestle, which I sold. I had a couple of them. So I sold one at a show recently for 25 bucks. I thought that was a great price. Again, it's a rare card, but it's not hugely valuable. Again, like all of these cards. So, this is going for, the rookie card is going for between $10 to $15 ungraded. If it were to grade a 10, then yeah, it gets to be worth about $1,000. So is it worth getting it graded to try to get a 10? Well, I guess you're going to need a loop. You're going to need to, take a look at the cards and see what the actual condition is. But then here is the Fred McGriff. Now, I'm a Topps person, so here is the Fred McGriff 87 rookie. Again, that is the update, so you can see on the back. This is considered for Topps collectors. This is considered his rookie card. Now, a lot of people consider the Donruss one his real rookie, since that card came out before the Topps card, because this was in the update. But in all honesty, I think that that's his rookie. But I've been a Crime Dog fan for a long time. This is the picture that I took of Fred McGriff at the 1992 All-Star game in San Diego. And so, again, this is my photo, and that will eventually go up on the wall when I can get my office. So hopefully it'll go right there. That's what I'm looking at, trying to put some pictures up there. But I gotta rearrange things. We're getting there. We're going behind the scenes. You guys keep seeing. So you saw the two bookcases. You see, stuff moving around. I got a light here. It's not on yet. We're getting there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed behind the scenes. Now let's get to your viewer comments. The first comment comes from A. Parisi1, and it says, Mike Trout has a career WAR of 83. We actually already know that he has a career WAR of 86.3, but we're getting into that. If he stops playing today, he's going to make the Hall of Fame. Now, this comment actually is what inspired me to make this entire video and do the hot take. So, A. Parisi, thank you for actually saying this, because I did a whole video to prove to you that, yeah, Mike Trout actually might make the Hall of Fame because people are stupid. I don't know about you, but he doesn't have the stats. He's not that good. I wouldn't want him on my team, not for $700 million or whatever he's making. I don't care. Mike Trout's not that good. I'd rather have Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Jose Abreu. There are so many other players that I would spend my money on if I was a GM, and I would stay as far away from Mike Trout as humanly possible. He is not a Hall of Famer, but he might actually make the Hall of Fame, again, because baseball writers don't know what they're doing. This is a made-up stat. It's a made-up stat. WAR means nothing. Clearly, it means nothing. He has an 86.3 WAR, and the Angels don't even win 86 games. So, it's a made-up stat. End of story. It's a made-up stat. All right, let's get to the second comment. Again, I love this show, and I love the comments. But please, good, bad, ugly, put your comments down, put your questions below. So here's a really great question from Ziggy No. So he says, the influencers obviously make him laugh. I love it. Really enjoy your production and hustle. How do you buy modern rookie autos with all the confusion on licensing? And this is a really important point. Maybe I'll do another video about this. I want to say, give a shout out to Dan the Card Man. He just did a video on the unlicensed Topps Chrome basketball, and they have a Wemby auto. This is what I have to say on unlicensed cards. I would not buy any unlicensed cards in general, except for autographs. And the reason, because the player signed it. That means they have a license with the player. Doesn't matter, if it's in the uniform, it's not. If you want a player, then get their autograph. If you like the design of the card, then get the card. I have a few Leaf cards for Justin Jefferson. Why? Because I like what they did. There's one for Justin Jefferson from LSU, and it says "Go Tigers." I like that. That's what I want to collect. That's what I want in my PC. So for unlicensed stuff, honestly, go for the player autos that you like. Look at the design, look at the player that you like. I have no problem with unlicensed stuff. I was a huge Star Cards fan back in the 80s. In fact, I have so many Star Cards. I never had a Jordan because, again, I'm from New York, and we hated Jordan. Like, when John Starks dunked on Jordan, we were happy. We were like, you suck. We don't care that you're the greatest NBA ball player in the history, and I know he's the greatest NBA ball player. I don't care. We hated you. You suck. Get the hell out of New York. So that's my take on that one. Hopefully that helped Ziggy know. And then the last comment comes from Kevin Evans, 8370. And he says, hey Doc, I tend to disagree with some of your assessments on these players. This is to the 1, 2, 3 video that I did last week. I think the one that hit me the hardest was calling Connor Bedard a generational talent when he hasn't done anything yet. All right, we're going to get here, so let me finish. So I think you picked the wrong Connor. Connor McDavid is absolutely generational talent. All right, I'm going to make this very, very clear. And Kevin, great comment. Seriously. In fact, guys, if you misunderstand what I'm saying, you put it in the comments like, this is what I think you said, this is why I disagree. Kevin, you misunderstood what I said, which is fine. Literally fine. I'm glad that you're watching. I'm glad you're liking the show. So, first of all, Connor McDavid is a generational talent. I'm not saying that he's not. That wasn't the point. But Connor McDavid's been in the league for 10 years. And I said that every 10 years, there's a new generational talent. Connor Bedard is that new talent. Connor McDavid's already got 10 years in the league, so he's no longer the new kid on the block. He's already in his he's 30, I think. So he's not the new kid on the block. He's on the tail end of his career. He's probably got, 7, 8 years left. That's not nothing, but he's on the tail end of his career. Whereas Connor Bedard just started. He's 19 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him. I'm going to do a whole video. I'm hoping to do it next week. I want to do a video on Connor Bedard projecting forward. Is he the next GOAT in hockey? And you're going to love that. So I'm going to go over all of those things. But no, I'm not saying that because Connor Bedard is a generational talent that Connor McDavid is not. That's not what I'm saying. Connor McDavid has some issues with his legacy. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, he just had 100 assists. He's unreal. I think Connor McDavid is amazing. If you collect his cards, if you want a card that's going to be worth money in the future, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, right there. Connor Bedard has a ways to go, absolutely, but if he can perform the way that he should, he will be the next superstar. He is better than Jack Hughes. He is better than, Patrick Kane. He's better than these players. He just is. I don't know the upside yet. I don't know if he can score 60 or 70 in a year. I don't know that yet. But he could score 50. And if you put enough 50-goal seasons together, you're a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's just the way it goes. So we'll see. I mean, Patrick Kane's going into Hall of Fame. We already know that. One of the greatest American-born players ever. So we're going to see what happens with Connor Bedard. But I appreciate the comment. Please put all your questions down below. I love the questions because they do spur on other videos. I love the comments because I do get inspired by you guys. The community is awesome. This is our community. If you are not already a member of the Facebook group, and I know I'm doing this at the very, very end, I'm not good at my marketing, I'm not good at my promotions, but if you're not a member of the Facebook group, I'm going to put the link in the description below. It is called Card Hoarder Nation, and the reason is because we're all card hoarders. We have way too many cards. I still have way too many cards. If you haven't watched all the series yet, so series 1 or season 1 of my sports card journey, please go and watch it. I'm going to put all the links in the description. So video 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope you watch it. Again, it tells you my backstory. It tells you kind of how I got here. I'm working on season 2. It takes a lot of work, guys. That's all I can say. It just takes a lot of work. But I want to thank you all for joining. It is Friday. I will see you next Friday. This is Doc saying, have a great weekend.
There's only one show. There's only one show I wanna watch. EDI Sports Show every Friday. From interviews and card news to the sports behind the scenes, only one show covers the deeds. EDI Sports Show. There's only one show. There's only one show.